sweets. You only have to go into a shop and you can see them. Horrible children tugging at their mothers' dresses or running around the display counters screaming their heads off and blasting imaginary spacemen. Red-cheeked cherubs looking innocently out from behind a rack of clothes where they have just spat into the pockets of all the trousers. Dirty fingers in the food aisle, grubby noses smeared across squeaky clean plate glass windows, and worst of all, those high-pitched noises, whining and whinging. I want some sweets! Oh, that oh-so-familiar cry that stretches your nerves to breaking point and turns normally placid adults into gibbering wrecks.
I'm bored! I want a present! I want a toy or some sweets! Why can't I have some sweets? I want to buy something! Can I have a pony or some sweets? An electric tractor? It's not fair! You never buy me anything!
Moan, moan, sob, sob, whimper, whimper, bellyache. Thomas Ratchet was a horrible child. When his mother took him shopping, he would misbehave so badly that people would stare and tut under their breath. One day, he was particularly naughty. His mother had taken him and his little sister Emily to the local supermarket to do the week's shopping. Is this your child? Said the store detective to Mrs. Ratchet. She was trying to pack her groceries at the checkout. Oh dear, what has he done now? Said Mrs. Ratchet. He was eating the bananas, said the store detective. I was boned, said Thomas. Not only that, I caught him using a trolley as a racing car. Oh, she said. Thomas didn't look at all ashamed. He looked rather pleased with himself. Can I have some sweets now, Mum? Then, continued the detective, he emptied a carton of yogurt on the floor to see how far he could slide on it. He stole some chocolate out of an old lady's basket. He changed over the price labels on the cereal packets. He climbed onto the top shelf of the biscuits section shouting, "Oh, look at me, I'm a monkey." And finally, he poured a pint of cream down the front of my trousers when I tried to stop him. Thomas laughed. He had a great time. In fact, he hadn't had so much fun since he switched off that chest freezer in Sainsbury's and turned the Telecatsian counter into an ice-cold swimming pool. The store detective frog-marched Thomas out of the shop, one hand on the seat of his trousers, the other firmly grasping his right ear. Mrs. Ratchet hurried along behind, muttering, "Sorry," and "I don't know what's come over him. He's not normally this naughty." But of course, he was. "Can I have some sweets now?" said Thomas when they were standing on the pavement. "No, you cannot," replied his mother. They visit the chemist next to buy some nappies for Emily. "Stay right next to me, Thomas," said his mother, who was starting to sound annoyed, "and don't touch anything." To Thomas, this was like always. Run away and lay your hands on anything you can find. If you can break it, so much the better. He always did the opposite to what he was told. In the chemist's shop, he fired toothpaste at a small dog. He fed lollipops to a baby without removing the wrapper. And he used a bottle of suntan lotion to write his name all over the floor. "Get him out of here!" shouted the manageress, "and don't come back!" "Can I have some sweets first, Mom?" whined Thomas. Poor Mrs. Ratchet was in a right old tiz as she was bundled out of the shop. "Sorry," she muttered for the second time that morning. "I really don't know what's come over him. He's not normally this naughty." But of course, he was. "Now just behave yourself, Thomas," said his mother. "I will if I can have some sweets," he moaned. In the newsagent's, he demanded a comic. In the butcher's, he broke a dozen eggs when he used them to play catch. In the baker's, he glued up the charity box by cramming a jam donut into the slot. And in the bank, he tripped up an old man by trying to crawl through his legs. "Walk properly, Thomas," his mother said wearily as they left the bank and started for home. "Do try to keep up." I can't, he said. I want some sweets. Then, you never buy me any sweets. If you behaved yourself for once, she replied, then I might. I want sweets, Thomas shouted again. You're horrible. I never want to see you again. With that, he took to his heels and ran off round the corner. He could hear his mother's voice calling after him, Thomas, come back here. Her voice got further and further away, until finally he couldn't hear it at all. Then he stopped running. He looked around to see where he was. He had run into a narrow alleyway. The buildings were tall and thin, and the pavement was made of cobblestones. All of the windows were shuttered, and short flights of worn stone steps led up to heavy wooden doors. The street looked deserted. Thomas was just about to turn round and go back the way he had come, when he heard a squeaking sound above his head. He looked round sharply, half expecting to see a bat or something, but all he could see was an old shop sign, creaking gently in the wind. The sign said quite simply, Sweets. Bang 3 times on door and wait. Thomas didn't need to be told twice. He banged 3 times on the door. Nobody came. He waited for a minute or so, and banged again. Harder this time and longer. He was making enough noise to wake the dead when he heard footsteps approaching. They shuffled towards him and stopped on the other side of the door. Thomas heard a jangle of keys, then a bolt being pulled back. The door edged open, and he found himself looking straight into the bloodshot eyes of a tiny, rickety old man with wispy white hair and rotten teeth. The sign says bang 3 times, he hissed. I want some sweets, said Thomas, and you were taking too long. Sometimes, said the old man, it doesn't pay to be hasty. You must be Thomas Ratchet. How did you know that? Said Thomas, following the old man inside. I've been expecting you for quite some time, said the old man as he shut the front door behind Thomas and slid the heavy bolt home. The old man's shop didn't look anything like a sweet shop. It was dark and damp and smelled of cats. Long yellow strips of sticky paper hung from the ceiling covered with thousands of dead flies. Mice ran in and out of the furniture. In the corner, Thomas thought he could see a large pile of bodies. But when his eyes got used to the light, he realized it was only a pile of shop window dummies. I thought those were bodies, he said to the old man. Don't be ridiculous. This is a sweet shop. Now, what would you like? Lemon sherbets, licorice twisters, and 6 sticks of rock, said Thomas. Your favourites, said the old man. You seem to know a lot about me. I also know that when you go shopping with your mother, you are the worst behaved boy in the world, said the old man, retreating into a second room behind the counter. I'm not, said Thomas. If she bought me sweets, I'd be good as gold. Are you sure those are shop window dummies in the corner? Why do you ask? Said the old man, reaching for a large net hanging on the back of the door. I thought I saw their eyes move, said Thomas. The old man laughed as he unhooked the net and flicked a switch on the wall. Thomas heard an engine start up in the next room. So where are my sweets? He said. Through here, said the old man, beckoning Thomas through into the back room. You don't like shops, then? I hate them, said Thomas. They're boring. There's never anything to do. What a pity, said the old man. Still, I expect you'll get used to them. Thomas was about to ask what he meant by that last remark when the old man suddenly scooped him up in his net and deposited him into a vast cauldron of churning white papier-mâché. When Thomas woke up, he felt very stiff. This old man is a trickster, he thought to himself. He hasn't got any sweets. I'm getting out of here right now. He tried to move his leg, but it must have been trapped, because it wouldn't move. He's tied me up, he thought. I'll bash him for this. He tried to move his arms, but that too was stuck fast, as were his head and feet and hands. He was trapped! He could just move his eyes, and looking down, he suddenly realized what had happened. It was too horrible for words. The old man had set him in papier-mâché. "I don't want to be a shop dummy!" shouted Thomas. But he was. Thomas spends all his time in shops nowadays. He stands in the window and watches the world pass by. If you look closely at shop dummies in future, you might see Thomas. His eyes will follow you down the street, but it won't be you that he's interested in. He's waiting for his mother to find him. She stopped at his window last week and looked straight at him. She seemed to recognize Thomas's face, but she obviously couldn't remember where from. When she does remember, I think she'll come and get him. Don't you?